Sometimes customers are appointing you to help them choosing the best ERP system that fits their needs. SAP is not necessarily the best. Well, you have, for example, a cafe owner coming to you saying that, hey, I have four or five cafes in Melbourne and I'm going to open 2 new in Sydney. I want to have a holistic view of all these reports and everything. I've heard that ERP systems are the best. Can you please give me an advice? So, well, students, graduates and consultants are divided into 2 groups, to my opinion. One can say that, hey, yeah, absolutely I can. This is SAP, these are the benefits. And to me, it's not ethical. What is ethical is that you should listen to their needs and tell them that, hey, I'm an ERP consultant, I know SAP, but if you want, I can assist you in vendor selection because maybe SAP is not the best for you. Let's go through the process. I hear about your needs and then I look into the market to see if there is another ERP system which is perhaps more affordable, more flexible, and addressing your needs better than perhaps SAP. And that's what I want you to be in the future. So coming back here, ERP vendor selection, it's a process that organizations go through to evaluate various type of ERP systems to see which one is the best for them. And they often appoint you and they pay a very good salary, hourly rate to you in the market, at least in Australia. One of the highest salaries in IT industry is for ERP consultants. So be ready to be able to charge them something perhaps over $150 per hour just to help them choose the best vendor in the market. So what is it about? Let's read this slide. It is best for an organization that does not have the experience in developing ERP system to purchase one on the market. Well, that's the first thing. Well, this is pretty obvious that many companies should be looking into buying the packages. Well, what is the other option? The other option is that you just, hire 4 or 5 programmers and tell them that, hey, I want you to develop an application for me. So you see what I need, develop something like this for me. Well, that is a very, very expensive, very risky way to go. And I still include that in many proposals when sometimes I'm communicating with a client, but I highlight the risks. I let them choose, I highlight the risks, and ideally it's not my preferred options when I'm giving consultations to any company. But this is still one option. So this is true, it is one of the best for organizations to use one of these tools that are already developed and ready to be implemented. However, before selecting a vendor, your organization must carefully evaluate its current and future needs. Not just the current needs, but future needs. It means that in that meeting with that cafe owner, ask him a question. What do you see your company in the next 10 years? Are you going to open more cafes, or are you going to focus on the cafes that you have? Or what exactly you want to do in the next 10 years? Because you want to suggest him a system that can scale up with a business. So if he wants to expand to international markets, and if he tells you that, hey, I'm just evaluating that we should be opening a new cafe in the UK, in London, and maybe in Berlin. So, well, it is alarming that if you just suggest him a tool that is only available in Australia, then how do they handle this for the other cafe? So it's not scalable. So ask about their current needs and ask about their future needs so that you can suggest something that suits their current needs as well as their future needs when the time arrives. Review the organization's existing hardware. That's one of the basically ways to do this. Ask them a question, okay, do you have really any computer systems, servers, networks, cloud computing system? What do you have right now? Because maybe they tell you that, hey, we have all these, infrastructure using Microsoft technologies, this. And you might think like, hey, if they already have all these Microsoft technologies, maybe Microsoft Dynamics would be a better fit for them, because this is this can be integrated better to all these existing systems. Well, we don't know, but what we know is that these are the key questions that you have to ask about their existing hardware, existing network. What are the software infrastructures? For example, if you suggest them an ERP that is running on the cloud and they need internet access, do you think internet is stable? Maybe they have a cafe which is in the middle of nowhere. I actually have seen cafes in the middle of nowhere in Australia. I remember driving from Perth to Melbourne, and there was a cafe. I went there, and they had 3-4 clocks. And the guy on the wall, and I was asking, what time is it? And I said, okay, what time is it? This is the clock for the next city. This is a different clock for the other city. So we don't have any time here. We are actually in the middle of this time zone. So at that time, I didn't have signals. I didn't have internet. I didn't have anything. I couldn't even call family members saying that, hey, I'm just here on my way. So I was very actually fortunate to have a kiosk of Telstra at that time. Not promoting Telstra, but there was a kiosk, and I could basically call the family saying that, hey, I'm actually okay, but I'm just middle of nowhere in a cafe. And yeah, here it is. So that cafe owner, honestly, they don't need SAP, and they can't really use SAP. So be very careful. When you are suggesting something, always look into customers' existing hardware, network, and software infrastructure before you suggest anything. Vendor selection. Let's see what we have listed here. In the ERP vendor selection, business functions or modules supported by their software is a key. Features and integration capabilities of the software is another important aspect that you need to consider. So these are actually important points. These are the points that you can copy-paste in your Word document and start writing about them when you are evaluating the system for them. And licensing and upgrade policies. When you are suggesting a system like SAP, check to see what are the licensing costs. What are the upgrade policies? If there is a new version of SAP, SAP provides free upgrades or not? Well, they don't actually. So it's one of the most expensive costs of cost factors in choosing SAP. The upgrade cost is just huge. And customer service, for example, you are suggesting an ERP system, but that ERP system is just, for example, 3 employees working on a company, small company in Australia, and you are suggesting their system to this cafe owner. So what if tomorrow there is no such company anymore? So those 3 developers who developed such ERP system, which was affordable, and that's why you suggested it to your client, they are not working anymore. So the cafe owner is, will be left with no support. Are you going to support that system that you haven't developed? No. But you will be blamed for, because you were their advisor, you were their consultant, and you should have taken this into account to see if this is going to be taken care of or not. So there are things here that you need to think about it, like total cost of ownership. We call it TCO. Third-party software integration, legacy systems, what kind of systems they have already, and what are the consulting and training services provided by the vendor if you are suggesting a particular vendor, and future goals and plans as well. So these are all important. All right, so the last part of our today's lecture, ERP benefits. What are the benefits? Again, it can be boring for students. Okay, what's the benefits? What is this? What is that? And I'll tell you something maybe it's good for you to understand how important it is. I had a client around 2-3 years. They called me and they asked for a training program. And I said, okay, what's the training program you are looking for? And I said, hey, we are implementing ERP systems. But then, since it was a challenge and head of departments were kind of complaining that, hey, it's just too complicated and I cannot handle it, we decided to show them the benefits of the system. So we searched on the internet and we found you on LinkedIn, that you are one of the best lecturers and also corporate trainer in this area. Can you help us with this? And I said, absolutely. Again, Australia is basically one of the best countries in the world in terms of having opportunities to provide consulting with a very high rate, I must say. So what happened is,